Roleplay 3 video.
Verse 2.
Alright. Ready? Alright, good afternoon all. My name's Alvin. This is Derek. We'll be the co-mediators for this particular engagement. This is Dirt Track. Here we have Kaveh, he'll be party 1, and Kevin's party 2. The complaint is about 2 neighbors and a dirt track. So we'll start with the narrative from party 1. Kaveh.
JKs.
JK.
Alright, so basically, me and my wife and my family have lived at this one area for 15 years. It's somewhat of a rural location outside of town. It's a modest piece of property, nearly 1.5 acres of undeveloped land adjustment. Our neighbors and everyone's are pretty much always together. We have like, events. There's been fireworks, but even though we made sure, even though I prohibited all the neighbors know that we have to make sure we do it in a very safe way. Also, in our area, we have chickens in our backyard, so we pretty much are like really out there, kind of little neighborhood culture that we have for us. I have 3 kids. One's 3, 8, and 11. 2 of the boys are the older ones, and then we have 1 girl. Our sons have recently gotten to BMX riding. They've been definitely, after me and my wife have talked to them for a little bit, we've decided to support them and help them out with this new interest that they have come across, which they definitely have really good skills in. We make sure we talk to the neighbors, and the neighbors and all of us came together. Our friends and people the other kids that wanted to join this little dirt track that we wanted to make. Everyone decided together to put it together. We put it together. We supervise it as much as we can, mainly because it's at the comfort of our own house. And the neighbors and anyone who wanted to hang out, it's a nice little spot for all the kids to hang out. It's safer than any other park or any other place that we've come across. Our sons use it routinely. They use it a good amount of time. After a little while, we received a phone call from our neighbor, and who was slightly new, who's only been here for a year. Interaction wasn't really that much we didn't have with them. Definitely kind of felt a little out of place compared to the rest of the neighbors in our area. We've had yard sales, barbecues, and just little things, events with the neighbors. They have not come. Most of the time, all I notice them doing is just polishing and washing their luxurious cars. What happened was our neighbor called us, told us that we were in a violation of city codes and that we needed to move in 24 hours of notice. Needless to say, the conversation didn't go really well, and because we weren't aware of these codes, they continued. 2 weeks later, we received a phone call and a visit from the city code enforcement division. They came, checked out the place, took pictures. Ultimately, said there's nothing that they really needed to do to take out this, and we said we were following the codes, everything's fine. I was kind of a little annoyed by that when I got approached with that. Was hoping that we didn't have to go that far. Almost 2 months later, after that incident, we basically saw that our neighbor was taking pictures of our boys and all his friends, and also our daughter, who had nothing to do with the track. It was kind of uncomfortable. It kind of made it feel weird. He even came up to our 8-year-old son and even told him, came off kind of threatening him, saying, what's it called? If it would be terrible if something were to happen because you were stopping riding that bike. Now, that makes me feel very uncomfortable and more protective of my kids, where I cannot really not be upset about this kind of situation. Then I got a restraining order I heard that we were getting a restraining order, and of course the judge saw right through the thing and denied it. After that, I decided to civil harassment restraining order against him because I kind of felt uncomfortable that it was stalking and threatening my kids in my neighborhood. So, and yeah, that's where I basically stand.
Okay. Sounds good. Kevin?
Oh, it's like, before we go off, so I just wanna like recap real quick, just make sure I got all the important points. So you've been there for 15 years.
Yes.
About acre and a half, rural area, like chickens and stuff running around, or
Yeah.
whatever. So you have plenty of space to bike your own for a dirt track for your kids and stuff. And so your kids fairly recently just got this new hobby and you wanted to support them. That's great.
Yes, and it was not just us that wanted to support the kids, our kids. It was other friends and neighbors who come across using their kids, getting their kids to come out to our area as well.
Yeah,
So,
and you want it in your backyard, so it's safer for you to better for you to keep an eye on it.
yes, definitely, and it would be safer for the neighborhood and us to watch the kids comparing them to be on the streets around some hooligans.
Yeah, so it was like for a couple of weeks, couple of months, and then you got the phone call from your neighbor
Yes.
concerning was a city code violation.
Yeah, and at this point, it just felt like more of an attack it was more of a told situation instead of like discussing. I didn't really feel like we were gonna discuss like these issues. It was more like him telling me.
And did you say like 2 weeks or 2 months later that that's when your neighbor started taking pictures?
2 months later, after what's it called? We had a visit from the code enforcer and who saw that everything was
Also, the
fine.
code enforcer came first with the pictures.
Yes.
And just to make things clear, you didn't spill over into his property lines, everything's within your acre of land?
Everything, yeah. The code enforcer said everything was fine. We had no problems. That's why I was even confused because we tried our best to make sure the neighbors, everyone was very understanding of what we were building and how we didn't want to disrespect
And
our
then the
neighbors.
restraining order came.
Yes.
And then it fell apart and then you counter sued.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I went with the restraining order. I didn't sue. Yeah.
you
I
countered
felt like it was very uncomfortable the way he was approaching my family and our property.
Okay.
It definitely made me feel uncomfortable when he came to start taking pictures of my daughter when she has nothing to do with this, and that really weirded me out a little bit.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing. So let's go ahead and start with Kevin.
Alright, so I'm Kevin, and let's see, basically I'm retired, my wife's retired. We've been professionals at our work for more than 4 decades, and you know, we've since we're retired, we're trying to settle down a little bit, and so we decided to move out into the country where there's a lot of land and you know there's a lot of privacy compared to living in a suburb area. So you know we moved out to the country, and you know it's exactly like you know what we needed, you know, just to tone down and relax, and you know, so we wanted that change of lifestyle, but then we noticed that right when around the time we moved in, our neighbors had this dirt track, and you know at first we were like, all right, you know, whatever, but then you know it just became a problem as you know time went on. I know he was using it for his kids that you know they ride, but you know quite frankly it turned from you know a simple dirt track to you know they could have probably been charging you know people to come in there and you know making money, because it just became you know literally like I don't know, it was too much. It's like almost they probably could have put bleachers up there and made a profit off of all that, you know. I mean it was ridiculous. I never seen so many people over there in my life. You know, just from the dust, the garbage, you know, the noise, everything. We had to, you know, we're constantly cleaning our cars. We had to get a power washer for our cars and our house, which probably would, you know, is a good idea for us. I mean, you know, I'm 85, my wife is 80, so you know we're old. Power washers can't come in handy, but you know those things cost money, and we weren't, you know, we're trying to, you know, kind of calm down a little bit, and you know we shouldn't be having to clean our house and our cars just because, you know, all this stuff is going on. And so, you know, called him on the phone, and you know I felt I was pretty respectful about it. You know, telling him if he can, you know, kind of calm the activities down, because you know, it was getting a little bit out of hand. But, you know, I guess he took it the wrong way and literally told me off. And, you know, once he did that, I was like, all right, well, since, you know, you got so much of this stuff going on, you know, just the amount of people that are going there, the amount that you guys are doing it during the day and, you know, at night. I'm like, is this thing like even like legal? Like, can you even be doing this right now? Because it's almost like, you know, you're telling people in the city, oh yeah, you know, come out to the country, you know, I got, you know, this dirt track, and, you know, bring all your friends, family, and like bring the whole neighborhood. And, you know, I don't know if they have like some kind of like inside thing going on where they're making money off of this stuff, and, you know, people are out there getting drunk, betting on kids and all that stuff. So it's almost like chicken fighting. You know, I know he got the cops over there, but
Whoa.
so I don't know if he's like.
I don't know about anything like that. This is going on.
Maybe, you know, he could even be having some what's called cockfights. I think he's got chickens over there, so who knows what's going on? You know, so I'm like, all right, is this home track even legal? And so, I was like, all right, well, if it can't be done, you know, respectfully, perhaps it should be taken down altogether. So, you know, even the conversation didn't go well. I called the city code enforcement, or the city's code enforcement, and, you know, they wanted to, you know, help me, but because they were so understaffed, they had me take the pictures of the dirt track myself and, you know, see if, you know, I could find any possible violations with it. And so that's what I did.
But prior to that, they did come visit me, didn't they?
No, they didn't prior to that. Before that, they didn't come visit you. I called them. They visited you after I called them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's prior or after?
It was before I took the pictures.
Before I took the pictures?
Before I started taking. Oh, before you started taking.
Okay.
Pictures. Yeah.
No, they came after I took the pictures. At least it's what it says.
Weird. Okay.
But anyways, I'll get to that point. But yeah, they told me that, conversation. Oh yeah, so they hadn't noticed any violations with the pictures that I took, and so they said I can still, you know, take some to see if I can finally or possibly find any violations, because they just said the mounds of dirt isn't, you know, a violation, but if they said like the persistent usage of the dirt track or the course could be a constitute a violation of the county code, or even the private nuance lawsuit because of all the just, you know, the loudness and just the amount of people. And so after the code, compliance officer visited, I noticed that the activities at the track or the course increased with more kids, more time. It was like every day during the week, all hours. It was almost like 24/7. It seemed like, and, you know, my doctor prescribed me with medication because of all the fumes of the bikes and the dust and the dirt, and so. Yes, my wife, she enjoys riding, you know, stuff like off-road vehicles like that. You know, she enjoys doing that too, but just the fact that, so she doesn't really, you know, have a problem with the course. It's just the way that, you know, he's doing it, just doing it so much and having so many people. It's just like, it's like kind of thoughtless and rude, and it's like, you know, it's, you know, have a little bit more, I guess, I won't say compassion, but a little bit more respect for your neighbors, especially the fact that, you know, we just moved in there. And so I, you know, continued to make phone calls to the code enforcement, but, you know, nothing really happened, and, you know, I just kept getting, you know, red flags everywhere, and I felt like I had to get a restraining order because it seemed like after I had that phone call with him, you know, things became just more on a personal level. You know, he started he'll like snoop on his roof. I don't like, as if, you know how hillbillies do, like when they're drunk, they'll get on the roof and, like, you know, just do, you know, stupid hillbilly shit. You know, just get really, you know, just get really crazy.
Alright, language, please.
Freaking hicks, you know how they are.
Yeah.
But anyway,
What's the language?
Alright.
Such language is
but, you know, it's really, you know, I'm old, you know, that's just how things are now. I come from, you know, back in the day where they used to do stuff like that, and they still do. But, you know, he'll do stuff like that, and, you know, it's just, you know, it's really impossible to ignore. So, you know, I did the restraining order, and, you know, he'll also do things like, you know, I'll try to go to my mailbox, and he walked in front of me one time, and I'm like, okay, I can't go to my mailbox. What do you want me to do? I'm not gonna fight you. I'm 85 years old, and, you know, you're half my age. So, you know, I just kind of ignored that fact. And so, instead of having the mailbox where it was, I eventually moved it to my side of the yard. So, you know, if he ever did try to do that again, you know, things will be a lot different. And so, with the pictures of the zoning code violations, the video recordings of the noise, and just the videos of, you know, all the stuff, I took I took it to a civil harassment restraining order, but, you know, it got denied. And then, you know, since mine got denied, or no, wait, so, alright, yeah, so basically, long story short, after, what's CHR stand for? Civil harassment restraining order?
I think so.
Okay, so yeah, after the civil harassment restraining order, you know, didn't go through, and just everything that I tried, you know, the kitchen sink just didn't work out at all. I was like, alright, you know what, I'm gonna just, you know, throw in the white towel and, you know, put the house up and move out, because it seems like every time I try to do something, I get red flagged. But, you know, when he does something, you know, it's granted right away, as if, you know, he had some type of, you know, in with, you know, the law officials. So I was like, I'm done with this. I'm gonna just.
So you have some inclination to believe that he has some connects with like law enforcement.
Yeah, cause.
And that's why your restraining order got denied, but his was granted.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, cause just like with his, you know, rude behavior, and, you know, just the fact that he has all this stuff going on, I feel like I have so much evidence that could put him under. But the fact that all that got denied, but, you know, his simple, you know, whatever it was, got, even after all the time I spent on it, you know, months, and then his simple request got granted. It's like, alright, I don't see, you know, I'm a 85-year-old man, how can, you know, it's like, what kind of harm?
So do you have any family in law enforcement or anything, Tyler, or just no?
No, we just live in a really good neighborhood, and people are all, you know, put together. We all like basically all fit in this neighborhood, but you could obviously tell they didn't fit.
And none of the other neighbors have complained about this dirt track. Just Kevin.
Yeah, just Kevin. The problem with him and his wife, I'm coming across, is that, I mean, this is something that our neighborhood put together, and when he approached me with it, it was just basically directing me to get rid of it.
Okay.
And this is something that needs to be talked about within the neighborhood, because this is not just my decision, this is something that we are sharing with the neighbors.
Okay, but real quick, before we jump ahead of ourselves, let's like go back and recap what you just said, just so we make sure we got all the important points that you wanted to share with us.
That was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot to go over. So you retired, what were you, 80, and your wife is like 78? Something like
I'm 85, she's
You're
80.
85 and she's 80. Okay. And then you guys have been working for like 40 long years, you guys retired, bought some property in the country so you get away from the city. Okay. You got down to, you just want to buy property outside to relax and, you know, retire, enjoy your years, and then you got this racetrack next to your house. And then also you mentioned that because of the track, they had to constantly clean inside your house and your cars.
Outside, yeah, because all the dirt and dust and garbage.
And then how long did this persist for before you actually made attempted a phone call?
How long did the?
Yeah, how long did this persist before you actually attempted to make contact with the convict here?
Oh, contact with him or the?
Contact him.
Oh, like a couple months.
Oh, months? Oh, wow.
Month, no.
A month.
It was,
About a month.
to
Okay.
me, from what I remember, it was instantly right after I built the track, I received a phone call from you.
Okay, well, it's
And you've only lived there a year.
let's talk about that in a minute. And then, okay, so you called him, and then, so you asked him, when you called him, you asked him to, just, you politely asked him, to keep it down, correct?
Yeah, just tone the activities down, because it was just so, so much. Like,
Okay.
I feel like if he would have at least, because he knew I was new to the neighborhood, and I know he's been there a while. His neighbors have been there a while. They know him, but I mean, it's more the fact that like since I just moved in, like I know a year ago. All right, I mean that's not too long, but it's more of the things like I know I could have went over there and approached them like during his his get-togethers when he has people over, but it's like the phone works both ways. He could have done the same thing with me.
But you don't feel any need to interact with your neighbors. You feel like you just want to keep you and your wife want to keep to yourself. And
I mean, yeah, we can interact. We don't mind like going over there. We can always like go over there and hang out. But I just think that since he's seen us. We're elderly. I mean, of course, we're willing to socialize and be social, but. Obviously, yeah, we could have went over there and introduced ourselves, when we first moved in a year ago, and, all that. But, like I said, the phone works both ways. They could have done the same thing. I know they always, we've seen each other, passing by. But then again, what I was trying to get at was, in regards to, building something like a dirt track, it's like, yeah, we don't mind, your kids doing it. But when it gets to a point where, more, you're going to be inviting more people over and you're going to be, doing it on more, longer hours of the day, with more people. It's just, I feel like he could at least, came over and disclosed that with me and my wife instead of kind of like, just doing it. That would have been a little bit more.
So I kind of wish you would have asked for approval.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been like, no, you can't do it, but just give us a little like heads up about like how much more was going to be going on.
One call you gave him, you said you were pretty calm, and he says differently that it was you guys got kind of got into it. So what about this phone call kind of
by him telling me it was like I said, we were not going. I didn't feel like we were going to collaborate. Come together to make an understanding of the situation. It was basically, it was decided and it needed to be changed without even being discussed. So I felt that it was unfair that it crossed that line without even approaching me and trying to work it through.
No compromise, just
no compromise. It was
Yeah, okay.
So, is that what happened? Mr. Cover.
So there's no compromise. You just told him like get that out of here. Like you weren't willing to have any wiggle room.
Oh, I was my whole thing was just like, I didn't expect that it was gonna escalate from the two boys to having,
the whole neighborhood.
Oh yeah, the whole neighborhood over. So, I think he was just kind of like, why are you telling me like, what to do?
I felt disrespected
with my, with my track. So, I mean,
definitely felt like it was out of line. I thought obviously our neighborhood has we're a really good neighborhood. We all seem to know how to talk to each other, get along, and so we do have our little get-togethers. Maybe I should have put more. I think my problem could have been is I could have maybe introduced him more to the neighborhood, and since he's my neighbor, maybe that might have helped out the situation a little more. But I really felt that he didn't really know how to talk to me as well. It obviously could be both of us. There's miscommunication, but I don't like when someone makes me feel uncomfortable and doesn't talk to me, and mainly taking pictures of my kids, which is really, really making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
As a parent, I feel that I have to put my foot down on this issue.
Do you feel like you've been excessive with the photo taking? Do you feel like
the only reason why
making a case saying that you've done it way too much? Do you feel like
the only reason why I was doing it so much is because they weren't finding anything wrong with the with the mounds of dirt is what they said. So they said if I can find violations, then I can take pictures. So that's basically what I was doing. I was trying to find reasons why he can possibly not necessarily, I don't know, get rid of the thing, but, you know, just tone it down. And each time I try, you know, they're like, yeah, we can't do anything about that. But if you can find something about just the noise level and the amount of time that they're doing it and all the other stuff, then you might have something there. So that's basically why it's a simple fix.
See, this is why I'm frustrated. He has not been able to come talk to me about this problem to be fixed. He goes to someone else. Instead of trying to get it fixed with me and coming and talking to me about it, I don't find that there. I don't find the communication between us available at all. So I feel that this is basically being threatened on our life and our neighborhood.
Well, knowing that you have no interest in getting rid of the dirt track that your children use, is there anything, you know, you'd be willing to do?
Yeah, I could honestly, if he learned to take communications in college, and coming to me and talk to me about the idea of maybe having this as a problem, I would have talked about operation hours. I mean, we both make decent money. I would have even tried to see if I could provide something for his property to avoid his luxurious cars from being messed with any of the dirt or the family, the fumes. I would do whatever I could, research I could, to make this work. I made it work for my kids. I probably can make it work for this child as well.
That's poison.
Oh yeah, let's stay away from things like anybody. But obviously he's not.
I felt
I'm
disrespected.
just upset that there's no
He
communication.
just told
This
me,
is-
I'm 85 years old, he told me to go take a comm class at college.
It's a really good class though. There's been a few when I was.
Communications.
So, I mean, you know, I know you are willing to make some compromises, but is it too past the point for you where you guys can agree on anything? I mean, is there? I know you stated that, you know, you're kind of near, you know, pushed towards the edge, or now you're thinking about even possibly putting your house up for sale.
Yeah, because I mean, like,
I'd prefer not to move, but if we can make this work, I just want to know. I guess we might need help to communicate. Hopefully, we can learn from this and communicate without any other individuals in our vicinity.
Because moving is that's a I feel like a last resort option. I mean, like, you can't deal with it to the point where you just gotta get out of there. But I mean, that's how you feel. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, obviously.
I'm pretty sure I could talk to the neighbors and all the kids' families and see what we could do to help this situation, because we obviously are a community and we want to stay a great, powerful community, a family-oriented community.
Okay.
So we are willing to try to be open to it, but we have to we need that communication to be there. Hopefully this situation, us bringing it here, is what we're gonna get to, is what I want.
okay, I'm willing to, you know, I really want to sell the house, but, you know, I just think it'll be hard to do it because of the dirt track, and, you know, but if it's gonna be hard to sell it, then, you know, it's probably not. I don't want to. I'm already 85. My wife's 80. I don't want to go through all that stress to sell it. So if we can come to some type of, you know, agreement other than selling it, then, you know, that can be an alternative too. Because selling, moving all your stuff, getting it situated, you know, that's a headache in itself.
It's for both of us.
Yeah. So, I mean, all I want is just. I mean, like I said, I don't mind. I'm not saying you can't, you know, invite. You know, I mean, the amount of people, it's just the garbage, the you know, nothing's getting picked up, the garbage, the dirt, you know.
Yeah, I think in overall, COB is doing this in good faith. I mean, I don't think there's obviously, like, you question, like, you know, cockfighting or illegal gambling, but
Yeah.
I think that it really is, at the end of the day, just something for the kids. But
I mean, if you like, you could even, if you feel that you have free time and you enjoy talking to the kids and being with the kids, you could come and supervise them. You can see the situation for yourself. All I want to know is that I feel comfortable and trust you. I mean, obviously, these last few times I've felt very uncomfortable, so we do want to work on that. We want to build our relationship so that we can trust each other once again. We need to learn to make this work. We are adults and we can be civil. We just need to communicate. The only issue I'm coming across is that I need to come up with the neighbors an idealistic operation hour that you would be fine with. Maybe something just for the weekends. Just Saturday and Sunday, kids do their thing. Obviously, the weekdays, maybe my kids could do just themselves, but the friends are not allowed to come over until the weekend. Obviously, there would be a time where they would stop doing what they're doing, so that you guys can relax and enjoy your dinner and not have any issues with that.
Okay. My thing is, we're old, so if you can do, like, we like our Sundays.
Okay.
So we want to, Sundays is like our,
Relaxing, quiet
yeah.
day.
So Friday or Saturday is cool, but since we're old, we also go to bed
But you guys are
early.
retired. You guys are retired, so Sunday doesn't sound like a need for a relaxed day when you could have Monday through
I know, but
Friday.
yeah, but if you do Sundays and the kids are going to school Monday through, Friday, I mean, I wouldn't want. I'm just kind of thinking kids too, like as far as them being out at night doing dirt bikes.
Oh, well,
and having
obviously
them
Sunday we'd cut it short. Saturday would leave it a nice day for them. I mean, if there's specific Saturdays that you're having events at your house, parties, family parties, some of the things, we are really willing to just make sure those days it's closed.
I'm willing to do 2 days a week. It's just the times.
Yeah, I think hours of operation and
Yeah.
finding a compromise here, I think would really
And in the
benefit
future,
both of you.
I would like you to ask or talk to me instead of demand. If you could avoid the demanding, and we can make this work as a collaboration with everyone, not just myself making a decision in this, I think that would be a more respectful way as a neighborhood that we work together instead of separately. We're not on teams. Everyone can talk to everyone, and everyone can make sense to this situation.
But I politely asked. Because seriously, I yelled at you?
You immediately told me that the new track was illegal violations. It says told. Yeah. So that's one thing I don't like. I don't like that you demanded it from us.
You guys think you come to some sort of agreement?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, Saturdays will make a good, nice day for all the kids to be able to go throughout their days. We could probably say shoot for maybe like, I don't know. You old folks wake up early, don't you?
So
Yeah.
So we're trying to cross out Sundays here, correct?
Okay,
Sundays is-
Sundays we'll do half day, and Saturdays we'll do full days, and then days that you have parties, we'll make sure that it is shut down for that day. Just give me in advance, and I will make sure that the kids know that this day is closed for specific reasons.
But do you think you could like also clean up the garbage too?
Yes, the garbage in the neighborhood, and all of us are willing to maybe even help out to maybe find some way we could build a cover for your luxurious cars, not to be have to get dirt all over it. Obviously, we've all put our money to this, and Home Depot doesn't cost that much, but putting supplies together. So we'll be visiting that store soon to help you build something for nice for your house. I have respect for you.
So the time, the days are good, and then the garbage is good.
Just you guys, I think both of you just have to really fully communicate with each other.
Yeah,
and be on the same page
that's
about everything,
one of the
or else
things
we're
I
just gonna
want.
keep running to this issue, you know?
I would actually hope that we could have this in writing so that this issue is not crossed because we've made established rules and structure with our neighborhood. And that's what I want. If anything, from this mediation, I would prefer you guys using any of your powers to do this. Is there any specific things you guys want we can offer?
No, there's nothing we can and we will. We won't. Unfortunately, we're just gonna facilitate the conversation. There's nothing we can do for you. I mean, we'll draft the contract and you guys can sign it. And
Okay.
you got to agree on it, of course, as per 1118. That's good. But in terms of us giving you legal advice or taking any or arbitrating for any of you, that's not our job.
So you guys are not enforcers of the.
Of course, no, we know
the
it.
confidential.
You enforce your own confidentiality. We just call you out on it.
Okay,
That's our job.
I
To
appreciate
tell
it.
you, hey, like, hey, what are you doing? I mean, of course you can tell anybody you want, but once you sign that contract, then it's up to you guys.
I'm definitely gonna refer you guys to my families.
Please.
Okay.
Charge $1,000 now.
We have our families are nice, so we can afford this.
I like spend $10,000 on a damn dirt truck.
It's chump change.
It's actually a manure. Most it's manure.
Oh, that's a lot.
It's from Whole Foods too. But I love manure from Whole Foods. They have a really good deal.
It's great. You
Alright.
put the glitter on your shit.
I think we
You learn not to fall. That's how you learn not to fall. If you want to fall on shit, you fall. If you don't fall, you learn the hard way in our family.
I like it.
I think we reached a solid compromise here, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm an ex-military, so if this stuff happens again, I'm putting landmines on those dirt tracks.
I'm kidding.
Fuck you and your kids.
One part now. That's that.
Oh my god.
It's like, alright, we
34.
gotta end this.
Yeah,
that's
no,
good
because
time.
I knew you had it. Yeah, that 2 o'clock. It's almost section 2. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's like 1:45
Okay, cool.
or 1:50.
Yeah.
But I mean, we already have the time limit just about.
Perfect. Alright, we'll just summarize with what our thoughts. One thing I gotta say is I did not like is I kind of felt that it would have been more helpful if my character had a more idealistic way of how he wanted to end this, because I'm obviously had to think of it myself, but your character was already pushed and like forced to already like move out no matter what.
Yeah.
I thought that was just really dramatic. Like, I'm out, like, no compromise.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
Well,
like,
like,
that's such last resort. You know?
I feel like with the older you get, you get your
Less patient.
Yeah,
You're more like set in your ways.
yeah, your patience. Well, I mean,
It's like,
that's so weird.
I made up my mind, I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
You would think the older person would be more
That's why
wiser.
I said I told you, because they're less patient, so it's like I'm gonna just like demand it because they're a lot more demanded too.
That makes more sense why you told me too.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, the only thing is like with my character, I definitely felt like he felt very uncomfortable. He was really.
What was it underlined?
You basically made my daughter. You made me feel really weird because you're taking pictures of my daughter. She doesn't even ride a dirt bike. So why the hell does my neighbor think she or he is doing anything? Why does it say he or she?
Freaking hard, man.
Yeah, it was really creepy.
It really does sound creepy in this account. Like, he
Yeah.
kind of does. He's like, just like over there all the time taking kids. And stuff like that.
Yeah, listen, you won't have your children threatening with bodily harm and the neighbor. Bodily harm.
Physical assault.
Yeah, I mean, some crazy shit.
What is this bodily? Like, I kind of get weird.
Who's Antonio Brown?
Receiver.
Receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, it is like they kind of just go to the extremes on these ones, you know. It's like, I'm gonna move, and this one's like, he's gonna cause harm to my kids. It's like there's no
Yeah.
middle ground. It's like you're assuming the worst. It's like slippery slope, man. Like the worst thing's gonna happen if,
Oh,
if
yeah.
nothing, gets figured out. Which, I mean, I guess could happen, but I mean, I just feel like it was kind of likely that like some 80-year-old guy was gonna attack this guy's kids. Like, if you guys were both younger, like both parties were like
Beat
40
you with
years
his
old,
walking
then like
stick.
like maybe, or both of you guys were younger, then maybe things could happen. But like,
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I'm sorry. I feel like my character maybe shouldn't have acted like I knew how to fix the situation. Because I kept on saying like communication shit. I feel like that would have been a great thing you guys to point out to us. Like, and I'm sorry about that. If anything, I was like,
we should learn some communication skills. Like, is that when you're saying that? Like, take some classes or something? Yeah.
Take a communication class, bozo.
yeah, no, that was funny. I just wanted. I was like, I gotta make it something. I was like, I wanted to. I can't help it. But yeah, no. Other than that, I mean, I felt like we all get really serious.
Yeah.
I mean, we all came to an idea. Good questions, basically making us. The only thing is we need, like, I think we all should work on is like things like making us understand how he feels and how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? Uncomfortable. Make him understand how it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I was thinking about trying that with ours when we were doing it too. Is we want to make sure we get both people to understand each other's feelings of why they are where they're at.
Yeah.
So, guys.
I think we're
Anything else?
session 3.
Good. Done. I'll stop it.
You just push it.